avoided physics. I knew the secrets to life was held by the ancient mystics. God is deeper than metaphysics. You should know when you look in the mirror, your value's intrinsic. Pour the libation for the spirits, so they can take care of you and your life will be uplifted. I pray over the plants for the herbal mixture, then thank the medicinal nature of the sacred elixir. A son of Abakallah, the priestly poet, who's faced tremendous adversity and remained stoic. My father taught me to endure the pain and not show it. Now I'm teaching my son how to be a man and not blow it. If I ever hear any cries of tears from my fam that reaches my ears, I'll unearth something so unrighteous the demon will see me and shake in fear. I'll unearth something so unrighteous the demon will see me and shake in fear. What's happening, everybody? It's your host, the Crypto Wonder. Hope you're doing well. Let's get right into it. And as always, first and foremost, I hope you're doing well. I hope this episode finds you in peace, in one piece, in good health, of sound mind, body, and spirit. And if not, I hope you reach swift amelioration towards greatness. My good people, let me tell y'all something. This year, right? I don't know. I grew up a certain way where when you grow up in the city, you're exposed to a bunch of things that you didn't ask to be exposed to. Right? You're bombarded. I remember like 20 years ago, but longer than that, in the 90s, the mid-90s, I remember learning that on average, people who lived in a city, a densely populated metropolis, would be bombarded by 3,000 different ads per day. That was in the mid-90s, when the internet was just becoming a thing, right? As far as mainstream, right? You had a couple years in, maybe, with America Online and Ricky Lake TV shows having America Online commercials, not really understanding what it is. Dial-up game crazy. In those times, I was told that on average, people get hit with 3,000 different types of marketing schemes or advertisements and just shills, people shilling, promotions, whatever it is, right? Get beat in the head, a bunch of different messages, and sometimes reoccurring. How many ads do we see, commercials do we see repeatedly during the day? It's crazy because now, decades later into the future, you think that's lessened? No, it's increased. Tremendously increased. Where you're afraid to not be attached to a device. You're afraid to really go outside and take a inhale deep breath of fresh air, right? Smell the earth. Really taste what the water is if you could get fresh water. Some places tap water is not the best thing for you to do. Go get some manufactured bottled water, drink it. Enjoy the ingredients of whatever you eat. Nature is basically enjoying nature. It's something that's becoming a lot more foreign, which is weird because we're supposed to be natural people. We come from nature, whatever. I don't care what your internal philosophical, spiritual, religious belief is. We are, those of us who are born from human beings, come from a natural origin. Because you got some people out here that's not so human.
that's becoming something that's non-conspiratorial in itself too. I look at some of the news that's taking place because I talk about crypto. So I look at some of the news taking place and watching how grown people acting like children. You got your man Kevin O'Leary, who was exposed, right? He was exposed on some type of financial talk show for having been paid $15 million by FTX to shill FTX, to promote FTX to the people. And because his pants were pulled down in that sense, whether he was prepared to hear it or not, he's now telling people in front of some type of, political hearing. I don't know what office he was, but some guy asked him in front of a bunch of suits, right? He was testifying, if you will, providing his account on what's what, dealing with FTX and cryptocurrency. This guy doesn't know anything about cryptocurrency except making the money. He's he's not different than a promoter who has 100 subscribers or a promoter who pays to play, who gets paid to play, right? Kevin O'Leary's no different. He just has a lot more fiat or access to fiat than other people do. So he's trying to go at CZ now and blame Binance for the downfall of FTX as we know it, not understanding that, his arms are too short. And I'm not saying CZ is a deity, but Kevin O'Leary's arms are too short to box with a certain entity that CZ's connected to. And it's a web, a web of influence that not many people are privy to. Trust and believe. Why do you think? It's not hard to see that Binance is the largest exchange in the world, or even like the most acknowledged as the biggest centralized exchange in the world. And they've made their bones and have been making their bones since 2017 and been bulldozing their way through the top. You think he did that by himself? You think he doesn't have people, right, on his side, a team? You think it's just him solo? You might see him alone, but he comes through with many people that you do not see. And because arrogant, right, pompous, funny-looking people like Kevin O'Leary gets exposed and embarrassed for being a clown, because what he did is, unfortunately, you know what he did, Kevin O'Leary? By this coming out, it almost negates everything good that he's done in the past. Unfortunately, that's just how things go, as far as life, right? It's messed up that way. Especially, but you got to deal with it, because there's a price you have to pay for playing with people's money, directly or indirectly. No matter how much good you've done in the past. This $15 million mistake called FTX that you're a part of now, $15 million because that's how much they paid him to shill FTX. This $15 million mistake is a complete stain on his reputation. Irreparable, immovable stain on his reputation, for those who know. Like all that stuff you used to talk about on Shark Tank and companies that, he's acquired or whatever, his success is almost like dimmed now because of this whole FTX debacle, because a person of his stature, you should have known better. You should have known about doing your own research, doing your own due diligence, having people do it for you on your behalf because you have the money, you have the resources, you're supposed to have had the knowledge. But no, it's not about that. What y'all have to understand, this is what a lot of things in crypto folks do not catch, because people are unwilling to listen to what people don't say. You're unwilling to read between the lines. You think a person like Kevin O'Leary and the Mark Cubans of the world have your own best interests, or not even their own best interests. They have their own best interests, and you're thinking they're doing the right thing because they sort of are now experts in whatever they talk about because they have billions attached to their name, that they know more than you. Meanwhile, you see from these expensive mistakes that they've done that they are no different than you and I, except they probably chose to do something differently than what we do. Who cares? Because our lives are ours, not theirs. Shout out to Stumbles. My whole point is, because he chose the 15 million by way of greed, because that's all it was. That's all it was. This is a man who said he just cares about cash. He cares about receiving money. People who chase money, and that's all they do. Trust and believe, because think about it. I firmly believe, and I'm always saying, money's the root of all evil. Now, when you consciously wake up and your sole goal is to chase the root of all evil, what type of character building are you displaying, are you doing for yourself? Are you showing the world that you're aligned to, that you're attached to, that you are a part of? Okay? At a certain level, I mean, I could understand being selfish. Some people say, is it selfish? But then, what are you selfish to? Are you selfish to doing the right thing? Or are you selfish to being completely wicked and vilified and engaging in activities that can not only destroy other people, but really destroys you as well? But you think you're doing something because you're all about chasing that paper. Chasing that paper that basically is baseless. You just want a lot of it because you're greedy, and it doesn't matter how other people get affected by it. It doesn't matter how people get adversely impacted. It doesn't matter how many people get hurt, because you got the bag. So it's F everybody else. This is what you find in crypto. This is what you find. That's why I've always kept a certain stance just with myself, and being extremely careful in the things that I talk about and how I represent over these airways, because I understand the power of the word. And I don't misuse this rented channel called YouTube, because it's not mine. I don't own it. That's a mistake people think too. They think that their channel is theirs. Like their channel, they could pass their channel down to their loved ones or someone else as if they own it. They don't own nothing. This is something that could be taken away, but it's still a platform nevertheless that could be wielded to do some good rather than something destructive. I choose to do something good and have some type of presence of mind to be able to know that maybe something that I say might fall on a certain ear that may affect them in a positive way, rather than something that could affect them in a destructive way. And leave it at that. And hopefully have that energy be picked up by somebody else and duplicated or multiplied or just left where it's at. But I know that I sowed some type of seed that's supposed to germinate something of goodwill and fellowship in the long run. Because all it starts with the seed. The seed starts in the mind with a thought. Then you have the words. And then ultimately you have the action or inaction or whatever you want to call it. But it starts from one point of origin. And usually that origin is intangible. Right? Everything that we see and we understand comes from someplace that we cannot see. So I say these things to say this. While we're watching all this stuff unfolding in the crypto space, this news, this craziness, we always have to decide what do we want to do? What do we want to be a part of? What do we want to align ourselves with? Right? because there's always going to be something going against what you believe. There's always going to be opposing forces, opposing views, contradictions, blah, blah, blah. It's about having the wisdom to be able to discern between truth and imposture, having the ability to decide, okay, listen, I accept this, I'm going to reject that, or I'm going to incorporate this and might get back to something else, improve this area, blah, blah, blah. It's always about self-balancing, doing self-work, development, growing, evolution, advancing. Like I said in the beginning, 25 years ago and now, two different periods, two different, entirely different eras that we're living in. We're living in a year. I never met, not met, let me change that. I've never lived in a situation, I don't remember any year where I've personally have known so many people who have passed away all of a sudden, more than I've had in this year, 2022. I know more people in 2022 in my life who have passed away, who are no longer living this year alone. That lets me know. And if I didn't know before, that lets me know now more than ever. More than ever. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. Tomorrow is not a guarantee. Everything is about the present. Everything is about what you're doing now. Time is of the essence for real, because we are not guaranteed tomorrow. So what is it that we're doing today to hopefully benefit from tomorrow, next week, next year, years to come, or possibly have something generated today that someone that you care about can benefit from in their future, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And for whatever it's worth, you have hashtags of things that denote, how people are just falling like flies. I'm not going to encourage that. I'm not going to talk about that type of thing in this episode, but those who are aware know what I'm talking about. I have never seen so many people pass away, family, friends, associates, professional, any type of circle in my life, like more than any time that I could remember as an adult. It's crazy. It's crazy. And even people who I know can also say the same thing too, that I've talked to recently, small conversations here and there. They've also seen there's something going on. You want to talk about reorganization. You want to talk about, great reset and all these things that's taking place that they talk about that's not even done behind closed doors anymore. It's in your face. It's in our face. These things are not done in secret. What role are you going to play in this life to counter those opposing forces that's forcing you to live as unnatural as can be? Imagine that. We're being forced to live against who we are. It's deeper than just about some crypto. Even though I talk about crypto all the time, crypto is just a tool. Crypto is just emphatically just a tool. People use crypto to build a following. People use crypto to steal from other people. People use crypto to create something good to offer to the world, which is what I like. I like to align to things of that nature that's beneficial to the world and things like that. But everything comes with a cost. Everything comes with a price. Everything comes with a sacrifice, right? Pun intended. In every shape, form, or the fashion of the word. Everything you have to, what is it that you're going to risk for something else? I'm a working man. I risk my time for a measly wage so that I can be able to take care of myself and my family. Sacrifice my time. I missed out on so many things, but I did it for something else. And that's the exchange in the walk of life that we have to always know and acknowledge and accept, because there's no other way to look at it. You can't pretend like it's not going on. You can't pretend that you don't sacrifice something for something else. Especially if you're a person of sound mind, you're a responsible human being, you meet your obligations, you take care of you and yours. You're always playing a special fine juggling act. Right? You're always doing that. You know, I'd rather stand on the side of, I guess, because it's about the polarities, right? Two halves, the opposites, play in the middle, but also taking a side too, though, because I know the others exist, but it's what it is. I'm always going to be on the side of what's right and what's good to me, and acknowledge everything else. Acknowledge the antagonist, acknowledge the opposing view, because that strengthens my position. It strengthens my position. And another thing, be careful who you listen to and who you allow in your circle, who you allow to who you lend your energy to, who you allow to take up your time. Because I just finished explaining how valuable life is and how precious your time is. Right? It's not about knowing. It's not about just knowing that. It's about exercising these things. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing today? Are you going to allow somebody to just draw energy from you, help you just become drained because you've become a sounding board, you've lent an ear, or you've done something, went out of your way to help solve some type of problem that other people are having? Meanwhile, they can't reciprocate that. They can't do that for you. Where does that leave you? Holding the bag, holding the bag of their problems. Meanwhile, you have your own weight to carry. Now your load is even heavier because you collected other people's trash. What's that doing for you? How's that taking care of you? And then when you bring that stuff home, if you around loved ones like a person like me, if I'm carrying the weight of others and I'm not taking care of myself, and I know I have to go back home, what do you think I'm doing? I'm bringing that trash home. And then I'm, inadvertently giving attitude, or I'm in a bad mood, or there's something going on, and this one little thing that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and meanwhile the people in my home didn't even deserve the drama and the fire that I'm emitting. Is because I allowed myself to be in a position where people are taking advantage. That has to stop. In a sense where it's not what I do, but I'm sharing that with other people because I see it. I've been through it and I've learned. Folks have to know that you're worthy. You understand? Folks have to know that not only that you're worthy, but they have to be a presence of mind to know they have to be worthy to spend time and expend energy with you. And if it's not of some type of value, and not monetary, not just monetary, but if it's not allowing you to become a better person, then what's it all about? Because your last encounter, I always think of, your last encounter with an individual, man. Think about it, right? Certain people who you care about, let's say. If your last encounter with a person you care about, it was not that great, you got to think about the last thought they have in their minds is something that's not favorable of you. What good is that doing? What type of energy is that propagating throughout the world, throughout the universe? What's that? But when the obverse is true, you feeding into an energy that's just going to consistently multiply, because energy doesn't die. You have to redirect it, and it's how you use it. It's going to land somewhere, so you'd rather feed energy something of light than something negative, something crazy. Have your encounter with people be something positive, something uplifting. When you give people hope so they can have faith in whatever they believe in, to move forward and push and strive, because life is challenging in and of itself. Everything is not always good every day. Nature shows you that. Some days are sunny, other days are stormy. It just shows you that. And we are of nature. This is why I say all the time, it goes back to that. But then in life, it's showing you that if you keep a balanced way, you shouldn't be swayed whether it's sunny or whether it's stormy. You shouldn't be swayed. You're just existing and doing the best in a polarized, positive way. Moving forward. Becoming greater. Transforming consistently to be the best you that you can be. And not allow like all this stuff, this temptation to make money, this temptation to just like have the most, this temptation of greed to chip away and gnaw at you, where you forget who you really are. You forget why you even were born and what your purpose was, what you were even here to accomplish and to give and to contribute and to offer the world. You know? You know, what's this for? What was this all for? What's this about? Because all the notoriety, all this zeal, this yearn, this drive, this unwavering, right, maddening, wildly maddening drive to chase money consumes you. What type of quality of life you think you're going to live? What type of quality of life you think people are going to want to be around you because you don't care about nothing? You don't even care about yourself. You just care about this baseless fiat that doesn't even have any real worth. Not understanding that the worth comes from you. And you temporarily transfer it. We temporarily give a piece of paper value in agreement as a consensus so that we can, exercise some economics, some exchange, some transference of wealth constantly. Like, missing the whole point here. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. Listen, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Thank you for rocking with me. And I hope you enjoy the remainder of your day, your morning, your evening, your afternoon, your night. I'm out. Take care.